Consider this your trigger warning. The following program is strictly satire and is not meant to be taken seriously. So don't get all butthurt, you liberal snowflakes, just because we skewer your sacred cows and expose all your lies and hypocrisy. Truth hurts, and so does satire. So grab a drink, pull up a chair, and enjoy the show.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the bunker. It is Sunday Night Live, and I've got that funny orange fish on my shoulder. Thank you, Mr. Ooman.
I will be a strict but fair lord of these lands, and my serfs will come to idolize me.
That's some funny shit. Just can't get enough of it. The jokes, the fun, and everything else. But, folks, it has hit the fan. The shit has hit the fan. It's not getting better. I hope you guys have noticed. I'm sure you have. How the hell can you not? Well, I'm coming at you live from the bunker. It's been a rest and recovery type of weekend. Still dealing with, it's just some general fallout from surgery, but wanting to just focus and look at what the hell is going on and think about, are we missing anything? Are we missing anything? Well, this is your chance to share with the world. What are we missing? What's going on out there? Maybe you have just an interesting perspective, and you can share it right here. If you're a subscriber, if you're not a subscriber, you have to subscribe to the channels. And then there's like a 5-minute wait and you can comment. But there's like a super chat button up there on the screen, somewhere on the computer screen. And that button it used to call it super chats, and then they call it something else. I don't have any idea. Anyways, we'll just call it super chat. But the point is, I think there's a point. Yes. This isn't just me talking. It's sharing ideas back and forth. And Sunday Night Live, the zoo, right now is how you share your thoughts and opinions with everybody. By the time this video is done, completed, and even after it's done live, it goes out to all of our internet's social media channels. You got The Prepared Mind, The Prepared Mind, thepreparedmind.club. Subscribe, started The Prepared Mind. We've got... on X, we're on Ooman X, and someday we may have our own X channel back, but apparently they don't like me very much these days because, well, the preferred, protected, blessed people, well, they're actually not blessed by any God I know, so apparently we're not allowed to talk about them. Anyways, this is your show. It's Sunday Night Live. Tell me what you think. Super Chats get up here first, and every week, we get a nice big fat donation from Darcy T and from Chin Music. And so they like to start off the show. And all the funding we get pays for the lights, pays for the servers, pays for the internet access, pays for our subscriptions. We got newsletters, services, everything. Just like it's like a one-stop shop. Plus we have, and Ooman can put the website up on the board. We've got the rsyndicate.com, which is basically a clearinghouse of all prepper channels, news channels, everything you need to be prepared up here, as well as the items you need, like food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, self-defense, communications, power, meaning generator, solar, etc. But this is your show, your channel, Sunday Night Live. So let's do this. Let's kick it off. I've got Darcy T right here. And she did a $50 PayPal super chat. And she says, "Good evening, John. Here's my comment question for tonight's zoo." She writes, "I just ran a quick list of ICE detention facilities in my area," which is hers is down in Texas. She writes, "It was a little surprising and frightening at how many locations there are. So then I began to think, what happens if ICE is told to stand down and all of the detainees who have been gathered from all around the state and even all around the regions, what if they're just released all at once into the surrounding areas?" That's a concern because our president Taco, if you know Taco, you know Taco. And those who don't know what taco is, well, it'll be in the comments somewhere. But if Trump just like backs off and says, fine, then we'll just let them all go. I swear that's like going to your local VD STD clinic and having everyone sneeze on you at once. Every disease known to man is just going to be on top of you. It's very scary. It almost feels like that could be its own false flag. The fact that these people were even allowed in the first place is absolutely treasonous, meaning Joe Biden or Joe Biden's body double, treasonous. The vice president, treason. Department of Homeland Security, treason. The Attorney General's office, treason. The FBI, treason. And we know all those players. They're all a bunch of treasonous scum anyways. And then we get to the Trump administration and his promise, campaign promise. We're going to get these illegals out of here so fast, your heads are going to spin. Never started spinning to begin with, much less so fast I can't get it to stop. And here we are a year later. And according to the statistical research, fewer illegals have been sent out of this country than they did under Joe Biden in the same amount of time. Meaning everything you and I have witnessed, propaganda. Everything you and I have heard, political grandstanding. Everything we as a country have experienced has not gotten a whole lot better. Let's just say only 20 million came in our country illegally over the Biden years. And let's just say Trump actually got 1 million of them out. That's only 5%. 5% of all the scum, sleaze, and terrorists that came in are still here. Anyways, it's very scary. Ooh, man, you can hear me, correct? Okay. Yep. Looks like I'm gonna have to reload here real quick. But they're playing some games today. I've been monitoring it. I'll be right back. Unbelievable. I can't get the camera to come back on. How about that? Ooh, man, you can't hear me though, correct? Well, we'll just go with this then. We'll just go with this. It'll be audio only today. Welcome to the Prepared Mind channel, audio only. Okay, here we are. Next up is, let's go with Chin Music. And Chin Music did a very, very generous $52.23 super chat donation. Mr. Uman, we have the comments up. Let's get Chin Music's comments onto the board here. And there we are. Chin Music says, I used to be optimistic about the future of our country, but that's fading fast. I do not want to sound arrogant. I'm not. But I take my fitness and preparation seriously. I take my fitness and preparation seriously, like you do, man. I was in the store today, and just about every 30 to 40-year-old conservative type of man I see, not all but most, are in terrible shape, wearing flip-flops, cargo shorts, and a t-shirt large enough to use as a sail. Our side talks a big game, but man, I don't know. I only have a couple guys I know I could count on if shit goes bad. No matter where you are on the fitness ladder, start climbing today. The country needs us. The teenagers and 20-somethings are worse. This is something I've noticed for years. It is. I'm 56 now. I started prepping when I was 14. I've always been athletic, always knew that staying in shape was important for quality of life, for health, for having fun, but also in the event of an emergency. Now, of course, when you're in the military, they keep you in pretty good shape, whether you like it or not. But I recall right when I hit 50, I did a physical fitness and appearance, basically self-assessment. And I looked in the mirror and thought, you're not doing too bad yet, for an old guy. But I started looking around like you, and I noticed, other people my age, horrible shape. Just, it's a small percentage that stays in good shape. At least keeps the weight off. And it's easy, though. It's easy to slip off the horse and take it easy. And when we lived in the country, the old America that we all believed was good for us, right? Would take care of us, would protect us. That country, you could get, out of shape. You didn't have to be a physical fitness superstar. You could just live your life, and you knew that everyone else would do their job and the country would be fine and you'd be protected, everything. But no, it's not that way. Our country's going to shit. The government is the one that is doing it to us. They take our money, and instead of giving us benefit, they give us liability in the form of illegals, welfare, supporting the rest of the planet, and of course, giving us unhealthy things. Now, it's incredible. I've heard reports, Chin, from Europeans who have come over to visit, and they stay a month or two. If you're going to come and visit on vacation from Europe, take a look at the country, look around. But you know what they seem to all report? They seem to all report that American food makes them feel lousy. They don't get a lot of energy from it. It slugs them down, and they start getting fat just from visiting this country. It's not that we're all fat and lazy. Our food is absolutely shit in this country. What is it? What did Epstein call it, Uman? Goy slop? Yeah, goy slop. Meaning, unhealthy slave food. So, for us in this country, if you can keep the weight off, if you can keep a relatively decent amount of energy and physical fitness, then you are really working it. You're working hard. The other thing is they're feeding us food that destroys our drive. Our enthusiasm for life, our level of mental and physical intensity is reduced by our diets. The fact that they're spraying crap in the air, they're putting who knows what in the water. They're trying to give us bugs to eat and GMO food. It is just a giant shit show, if you know what I'm saying. And yeah, we all get to experience it. But foreigners come here and they put on weight. They feel like shit. So it's no wonder that Americans are apathetic. They feel sick, depressed. They can't seem to get in shape and stay in shape without some sort of superhuman energy. And, Chin Music's one of those guys that has that. Anyways, we all need to fight this system. And I don't just mean going out and, picking up a sign and yelling at a building, which doesn't work, by the way, but fight their system. Try and eat more healthy. Get in better shape. Do your best. Put on muscle instead of fat. It's hard. I'm telling you, it's hard. At 56, even for me, it's hard. And I used to be one of those, I've done a lot of things to keep myself in good shape, but it's difficult. It really is. So I commend those that have succeeded, and I want to encourage those who haven't and need to. We're all on the same team as Americans. Don't count on, don't rely on, don't hope that someone else is going to be your salvation and savior. Do it for yourself, and you'll inspire others. All right, very good. Mikey G says, growing up as a boomer. Oh, shit, Mikey's admitting to be a boomer. He says, I remember we had only a couple of fat kids in the whole town. Now every other kid is fat. I have a grandson now, and I got a few of them. Anyways, they have more toys than I can even hardly imagine. And I see that kids have toys and video games and consoles and computers and phones. When I was a kid, I had a football, I had a baseball bat. I was lucky if I had a baseball, a couple of wiffle balls, some tennis balls. I had a glove, had a couple of gloves, first baseman's glove and a fielder's glove. And, let's say basketball, baseball, football. We would go out and play outside. Mom would not let us stay in the house. Or she would say, great, you want to stay in the house? You're cleaning. And never have you seen kids move so fast as to get out of mom and doing chores. So yeah, the Gen X, Mikey. Gen X, we were told to get outside, and they didn't want to see us until it was high noon for lunch, and then get back out again, and they didn't want to see us till, well, the street lights came on or the sun went down, depending on what neighborhood we were living in. And that is a fact. That's a fact. Sports drinks, no sugar-loaded, caffeine-loaded energy drinks. We were our own damn kids. We had plenty of energy. We drank out of a PVC-lined garden hose that probably, gave our livers shock from all of the chemicals. But still, we were fine. We were fine. No sunscreen, nothing. That was life. Today, whole different world, right? Kids need energy drinks to get off their little asses. People are lazy, and they let other people just tell them what to do. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm going to tell you, hey, we got a great show here. Glad so many people are showing up. Share the internet address. Tell people to wake up. Email it. Text it. Whatever it takes, hit the share button. Get people to wake the hell up before it's too late. Before it's too late. Anyways, this is your show. We got a lot to talk about today. We did 2 super chats, and what I want to do is, my camera's not working. I don't know why. I was going to do the Horse's Ass Award. I guess I still can. I just can't show you the coveted silver sphincter on the horse. But what I can do is give you the names on a list. That's right. I've got a nice list of names from Epstein, as well as their religious affiliation. Okay, I'm going to go down the list because I don't want people saying, John, you had the list and you're not sharing. So here I am. Peter Mendelsohn, Jew. Les Wexner, Jew. Ehud Barak, Jew. Ghislaine Maxwell, a.k.a. Jizzy Maxwell, Jew. Jeffrey Epstein, Jew. Alan Dershowitz, Jew. Woody Allen, Jew. Noam Chomsky, Jew. Leon Botstein, Jew. David Copperfield, Jew. Thomas Prickster, Jew. Lawrence Summers, Jew. Dan Ariely, Jew. Leon Black, another big shot, Jew. Harvey Weinstein, Jew. David Schoen, Jew. How about Marvin Minsky, Jew. Reed Hoffman, Jew. Ronald Perlman, Jew. Itzhak Perlman, Jew. Steven Pinker, Jew. Ariana de Rothschild, that's right, Rothschild, Jew. Ronald Lauder, Jew. Lynn Forrester de Rothschild, Jew. Mark Rowan, Jew. Reed Weingarten, Jew. Daryl Indike, Jew. Brett Ratner, Jew. Glenn Dublin, Jew. Lisa Randall, Jew. Mark Zuckerberg, Jew. Robin Abramovic, Jew. Jess Staley, Jew. Ehud Olmer, Jew. Chuck Schumer, everyone's little Jew. Howard Lutnick, a.k.a. Lick Dick, whatever. Anyways, Jew. Howard Lutnick, Jew, yeah. David Ellison, Jew. Larry Fink of BlackRock, Jew. Robert Maxwell, Jizzy's dad, Jew. Robert Kraft, Jew. Jamie Dimon, oh yeah, Jamie Dimon of J.P. Morgan, Jew. Alan Greenberg, Jew. Barry Krishner, Jew. Steve Hoffenberg, Jew. Peter Cohen, Jew. Robert Rubin, Jew. Shimon Perez, Jew. Richard Strauss, Jew. Richard Kahn, Jew. Sergey Brin, Jew. Josh Cooper Ramo, Jew. Harry Fish, Jew. Edie Lampert, Jew. And Prince Andrew of England is a Christian. I wouldn't call him a Christian, but that's his claim fame. I don't think I've ever said the J word so many times in my life in such a short amount of time. But I wanted to make sure everyone understood that the pedophile mentality comes from a belief system. This is not just a mental disorder. It is a learned disorder that is taught by a particular couple of religions. I don't think we had this Sultan on there that was caught last week. He wasn't really caught. Well, he was named and then he quit. I can't remember which Sultan out of the Middle East that was, but I'm pretty sure he's one of those Muslim guys. Anyways, Mr. Uman, how are we looking on your end? I know you can't see me and any hand and finger pointing. You know, it is Sunday Night Live. This is your show. We got a super chat button up there. And that is how you get on the screen. Get your questions, your comments, your thoughts. It is your turn. Mr. Uman, who is next on the Prepared Mind channel? And it's the good friend of the show, Nancy Kegg, checks in with a $20 super chat donation. And she writes, thoughts on this coming week. Hopefully everyone has their houses in order for what is coming in the future. Well, what are my thoughts for this coming week? Well, we've got a potential for World War III. World War III, starting over in Iran. They're trying to distract us from the Epstein files, from claiming or for holding the powers that be and all the names. And that wasn't all the names, folks. That was just some of the biggest names off of that list. There's still many names to be decoded and unredacted. In any event, we could have World War III break out. And it really would be, because we've got all the biggest players in the region. Iran and their nuclear weapons and nuclear enrichment and their nuclear power is being called into question. And apparently no one wants them to have nukes. But, well, Iran doesn't have nukes, but Pakistan does. Iran doesn't have nukes, but India does. Iran doesn't have nuclear weapons, but China, Russia, England, France does. Iran doesn't have nuclear weapons, but America does. Iran doesn't have nuclear weapons, but, well, Israel does, folks. Israel does, and they seem to be the one who is constantly saying, we need to bomb Iran. We need to, kick the leader out of Iran. In fact, the last few weeks, there's been a lot of effort by the CIA and Mossad to encourage a revolt, civil war, regime change, coup d'etat inside of Iran. And interestingly, anytime there is a protest on the street or a riot on the street, we get the television, the mainstream media telling us, oh my gosh, the people have had enough of Iran. They're trying to throw out the government. Well, what do you think happened this week with the government and the leader? Not in Iran, but in Israel. The people of Israel are tired of this shit. That would be the non-Zionist, decent human beings that live there. And they are protesting, they're rioting, they're throwing a fit and screaming and yelling outside of Benjamin Bibi Netanyahu's residence. That's right. And by the way, there's a lot of reports that are out there that Benjamin Netanyahu is an atheist. He's an atheist. He isn't even a sacrosanct Talmudic Jew. He's just a fucking Zionist who wants to, well, take over as much of the Middle East as he can before he dies. And he's not Semitic. He apparently it's being reported again, and has been reported for years and years, that he wasn't born in Israel. He came from, and his family came from, Poland, and I think his name is Miliakowski. It's not Netanyahu. Yeah, they did not name him after a chocolate drink, the old Yahoo drink. It's just weird, folks. So, anyways, back to what's going on around the world. We could have World War III. The president of the United States tried letting it out of the bag that, well, hell, there's aliens, extraterrestrials, UFOs. And guess what? No one gave a shit. Now, I've had a lot of people also tell me, John, the people of America are not protesting. They're not taking to the streets over this Epstein thing. Well, what are you going to do? Go throw rocks at a building and go poke a building with a sharp stick? You go try and burn a brick or stone building? It doesn't do any good. It really doesn't. But what I am seeing is people are starting to take to the streets. I don't know what their political affiliation is, because I have seen everyone in America that are on social media express their anger and frustration at the fact that not one motherfucking person has been arrested in the United States of America. We've had 2 arrests internationally. But not one of these millionaires, billionaires, none of these Israeli American citizens that have tons of influence. They threaten us with lawsuits. They threaten us with silencing. They threaten us with debanking. Oh, we'll talk more about this in a little bit. They threaten us with all manner of everything, right? But who do we go after? Well, there are people now showing up with bullhorns and walking through places like Times Square, down Main Street in cities, during the day and at night, yelling through their bullhorns, telling people you're not mad enough. Get out here and, raise the warning. And I think people are starting to get there. They're so disgusted, but they're like, well, my neighbor's not handling it. Right? The other city across the state, they're not doing anything. No, there's not much going on. We're all yelling on the internet, putting pressure on the internet, using phones on the internet. We're all doing what we can. But someone said, hey, where's all the protesters? And someone else responded, we're not getting paid. We have to do jobs. We have jobs. We can't just stop getting a paycheck and paying our fucking bills. It's not that we're afraid of losing our jobs for saying something. Now we're afraid of losing our jobs if we don't show up. So no one can go protest because we're not being supported by a bunch of foreign corporations and foreign billionaires the way the Democrats and communist left in America are funded and paid to destroy our cities. In other words, right, everyone better, as you're suggesting, Nancy, get their houses in order. And as Chin Music suggested, get in good shape and get organized and put good people around you, because there is something coming in our future. And I don't know how bad it's going to get. What I can do is I can point to, let's do this. Thank you very much, Nancy. How about terrorism in America? How quickly could we go from our relatively peaceful, relatively uncomfortable lives and turn right into Mexico and what's going on there, or any other third world country? The Sinaloa cartel has unleashed chaos in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Right, here we go. Ooman gives us the alert. Mexican drug cartels have declared war on the Mexican and U.S. governments after their drug lord boss is killed in a joint operation. All Americans in Mexico have been ordered to shelter in place. Puerto Vallarta is on fire. Resort roads have been blocked with burning buses. Tourists are being attacked at the airport. Tourists, Americans at the airport, are being held hostage. This is how quick you can go from, everything's relatively peaceful. We know we've got bad guys in the cities and the countryside, but we're doing fine. They won't do anything. It's safe. This is a fucking lesson for you, my friends. Not just America, but Canada, the United Kingdom, over on the continent in Europe, could be the Netherlands, right? Denmark, could be Sweden, could be Germany, France, Spain, Italy. It could be our good friends in London or up in Edinburgh, Belfast. Remember when the Irish would just do nothing but kill and fight each other over whether they're Protestants or Catholics? Now the country's full of Muslims, and it looks like the Irish don't want to fucking stand up for themselves. In any event, the government decided to try and do something about the cartel that's running the country of Mexico. Well, near instantly, the cartel had a plan, and they executed. I watched videos on it. They have unleashed chaos. People are running, ducking, hiding in the fucking airport. That's the Guadalajara airport in Puerto Vallarta. Let's see. The leader, his nickname was El Mencho. If his name was El Muncho, they could name a restaurant after him. But El Mencho was killed in a military raid. So the terrorists are, setting fire to Costco, businesses and homes down on the water, because Puerto Vallarta is a nice, relatively wealthy Mexican tourist town on the West Coast, and it does very well. Not anymore. Now it's a shithole. Yeah, and it's not just a Costco. It's not just a couple of homes. From high-rise buildings, people have scanned the entire area, and there's fires and smoke filling the skies everywhere. The roads trying to leave the city, the highways, they've crashed buses and set them on fire, and they look like charred skeletons out there blocking the highways. So tourists, you're fucked. Even the Mexican people, you're fucked. This is terrorism and SHTF. And now Mexico is living with a daily sun up to sundown example of it. Daily Mad Max, daily terror, daily mass murder. And this, my friends, can be anywhere else in the world. This can be Canada or Australia. Holy shit. Thank you, Uman. There, that's a good looking man right there, huh? Ay, 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 ay. Holy shit, right? This can be Europe, and it can definitely be the United States of America, where cities have their highways, major highways, blocked with burning fucking cars that are wrecked. No one's going anywhere. No one's leaving. And individual businesses and even government institutions can be attacked by terrorists. Terrorists. We do not have to have Iran or China or Russia parking submarines off of our coast and launching big scary missiles at us. We don't have to have our own government or some other unfriendly so-called ally of a government use tactical nukes on our cities and just scare the living shit out of everyone into giving up your rights. This can be done internally. It can be done very, very quickly. And I think Elementos men have demonstrated just how quickly you can go from relative peace, safety, and comfort to what the fuck just happened. It is SHTF. And that's why I say you need food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, and a means of self-defense. Uman writes, if you travel out of the country as an American citizen at this point, you're nuts. Now, here's the flip side of that, Uman, because, well, every coin has at least 6 sides, right? Oh, wait, that's a dice. Yeah, coin at least has 2 sides. You leave the country, you're nuts. But you could do everything right. Living in your house, all of a sudden, homes around you are burning. Businesses are burning. Left-wing fruitcake nutjob mofos are marching down the streets, throwing rocks and Molotov cocktails at people's houses. They don't have to start off slow with a march for days and days and building their anger and frustration. They could start out just like they did in 2020 and just start burning the shit out of people. Day one. Because that's how they did it. Are you going to let them march down your street setting houses on fire? Or are you going to be prepared? Because it doesn't matter where you're at. But the thing is if you're home, if you're where you live, then you are, odds are, capable of feeding yourself food, making sure you have water, and, of course, self-defense for you, your neighbors. That's right. Uman says, at least I have my preps here, and you can't travel with those, not around the world. No, they don't tend to like Americans bringing a couple thousand rounds of ammunition and, an AR-15 with a force reset trigger in it and a FLIR, forward-looking infrared scope on the front of it for, nighttime sport fishing. Anyways, here we are. I'm glad you guys appreciate it. I appreciate you guys and all that you're doing as well. Okay, Mr. Uman, I'm telling you, dude. I'm telling you. It is one heck of a situation we're looking at. Right? Terrorism in Mexico has been unleashed, not by terrorists, but drug cartels. And who did Joe Biden and the World Economic Forum and all of our good buddies in Israel, who did they invite into our country from 2021 to 2025? That's right. Sinaloa cartel, El Cruncho's people, the Trens de Uruguay out of Venezuela, not to mention militant age men from both China and the Middle East and North Africa. They are here. And it doesn't take a whole lot to stop a highway by standing in the middle of it with a rifle in America, shooting the tires out of buses or semi-trucks, blocking the highway, and then setting shit on fire. One man, or shall I say like a fire team, 4 men, can shut down a highway in a matter of minutes, a freeway, and just completely encompass and enclose and encase a city. And that would be a city just waiting, right, for shit to hit the fan and get really bad. Mr. Ooman, this is some good stuff. Folks, it is Sunday Night Live. There's a super chat button right up at the top of the screen. I think it's just to the right and just above the video. And we don't have video feed because, well, somehow they've managed to knock my camera out. The weirdest shit ever, I tell you. Weirdest shit ever. Anyways, you guys get to pick the topics. Hit that super chat button. Tell us what you want to talk about. And I want to tell you, well, other countries, they're worried about what's going on. They're worried about what's going on. Even in Iran, they're kind of worried. I don't know. I mean, I know that the threat of World War III is over there. I don't know. Well, the Ayatollah Khomeini, who's the supreme religious leader of Iran, allegedly, it's being reported that he's preparing for his own assassination and is putting out his will, right? Who gets to replace him? And it's funny, it doesn't really matter what a dead man wants. After you're dead, whoever's got the most power and influence is going to step up and take control. And what's scary about that is the religious wackos. And I think religious wackos anywhere are dangerous, regardless of the religion, because, well, they're fucking wackos. Just like our political leftists are wackos. By the way, I need to pour myself a couple of scotches here. Mr. Ooman, I got a scotch coming from Darcy T, and I've got a scotch coming from, Chin Music, because they did a $50 plus super chat. So let's see if I can get the sound effects at least. Could you hear that scotch pouring there, Mr. Ooman? I will noisily drink it as well. Oh, wow. That's not the best way to, that's not the best way to inhale a scotch. Good golly. Anyways, that was a good one. Okay, folks, it's your show. It's Sunday Night Live. Sorry, I'm not on the camera. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give it a shot, Mr. Ooman. I'm going to see if we can get this camera fired up. Everyone, hang tight. I'm not going anywhere. It's the Prepared Mind channel. It's Sunday Night Live. Get your questions into Ooman. And the answer is no. No camera for you. What a freaking Sunday. Everything's been fine all weekend. Now, no good. All right. Lady Smith says X. Huh? All right. Let me get back over here. Mr. Ooman. Let's see. Try logging out, unplugging, and replugging your camera. Well, I could do that. You keep everyone entertained, Mr. Ooman, and I'm going to do just that very thing. Sunday Night Live, folks, I'll be right back. Let's see if we can get this fixed. No idea, man. All right. What the hell? What the hell, man? Mr. Uman. Unbelievable. I went and did all kinds of things, and it's just not doing it. It's not coming back. You can hear me okay, though, correct? Yeah, now it's got the screen blacked out, but it won't let me it won't turn the camera on. It just unbelievable. One last check. One last place to look here. Oh yeah, I know what they're doing. That is just amazing. Well, I tell you what, rather than me fucking around with the camera, I'm going to continue with the show. I know what's going on. It's just a stupid thing, man. Let's see. Now, search for cameras. Unbelievable. It's almost like my computer was hacked. Can you believe that? Almost like my computer was hacked. Well, fuck it. Okay, man. Well, let's do it. Let's continue with the story. I want to tell you guys about the people that are in charge of our country. In South Carolina, a Judge James B. Gosnell Jr., Gosnell. Do not take my word for it. Look this up. This son of a bitch judge from South Carolina has 6 federal charges for having hundreds of videos and images of children, including infants and toddlers, who are being forced into having disturbing, filthy, disgusting sexual acts. That's right, folks, a sitting judge, a magistrate. And this guy, Gosnell, jackass Judge Gosnell, has actually presided over cases involving individuals charged with pedophilia. If convicted, this judge, folks, can face more than 20 years in prison. I don't think that's good enough. But if this judge was smart, he would have raped, murdered, and eaten some children, and he wouldn't be investigated, much less arrested and held accountable. Don't you find this amazing, though? Now, if you caught what I said in here, it's federal. 6 federal charges, meaning the Federal Bureau of Investigation, meaning the Federal Department of Justice, meaning the Attorney General under, Pam Bimbo Bondi. They're charging this guy and wanting to give him 20 years, more than 20 years. But they will not have a single Epstein client investigated, arrested, charged, or prosecuted, and then sentenced. Nope. But a judge, bad guy. But all of these businessmen who have a 6-pointed star next to their name, I read you many of their names, they're free to go. Free to go, nothing to worry about, nothing to see here, folks. What do you think of that shit? What do you think of the 2-tiered justice system? Well, the government is doing everything it can right now to destroy your nation, our country, which involves destroying our children, our families, our lives, our wealths, our families, our fortunes. Meanwhile, left-wingers are losing their minds. A 21-year-old, a young man, decided he was going to, try and kill President Trump. So he got onto the Mar-a-Lago grounds with a weapon. I'm right about this. Did I dream this, man, or did I hear this right? Anyways, this idiot kid, this young man, I guess he's under the impression that you just got to jump over the fence and carry your gun up to the house, and he's just going to look in the windows until he finds the president. He had no idea what he's doing, no planning. Just get a gun and you're going to go solve the world's problems. That's unbelievable. Let's see. I see what you're saying there, Mr. Uman. Let me try this. How the hell do I do that? Oh, there we are. Let's see what I can get away with, man. Boy. Nope, 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 and nope. Okay. Going into the streaming activity here. That's interesting. Okay, here we are. That's no good. Holy shit. So much for fixing that on the fly. Okay. Anyways, the host has unmuted my mic. Okay. You can hear me now, can't you? Okay, let's just I'm gonna try not to blow everyone's fucking ears up. This is just it is interesting, folks. It is interesting that this is what happens when you piss off, I guess, the people that are in power. All right. Do we have any great topics to share out there, Mr. Uman? Has the crowd woken up? Do they have something to say? It is your show. It's Sunday Night Live. We got a super chat button at the top. That's how you get on the screen. That's how you support the show. And Travis Banks says the rule is it took less than 2% to throw off the aristocrat bureaucracy of the World Bank on 12/25/1776. Hunger will make anyone motivated. Oh, I had this discussion this weekend. Great topic, Travis. Great topic. Someone was very upset with me, very angry. Not with me, but just with the whole idea. Like, why aren't Americans fighting back? I said, well, they have to go to work. They have to be at work. They have to stay at work. They don't have money to do this. But on top of that, when you're not hungry, you're less inclined to be mad. If you're entertained, you're less inclined not to be mad. And that falls right back on the Roman concept of bread and circus. That is to say, cheap food and entertainment. And the people will stay distracted. Does that not describe our country? I think it describes us, especially as Americans, to the T. We've got a lot of food and it's not healthy, but man, it'll fill you up and make you fat and sassy. And then we've got all the entertainment you can imagine. Why do you think that when COVID locked us down, which was, that's right, an Epstein plan, it was part of it. He was part of it. He was talking about it. He was talking about it with Bill Gates. Old Jeffrey Epstein was. Well, guess what? That was it literally, they said, well, how do we keep people locked in their houses? Give them free porn. Literally. So Israelis, Jewish businessmen are the ones who own all of the porn on the internet. They own the porn companies, folks. They buy our politicians. That's right. They pay off Christian preachers to preach Judeo-Christian belief systems. Oh, yeah. So they kept people entertained, beating their meat during COVID lockdown. They give us football, they give us baseball, they give us basketball, they give us hockey, they give us Olympics, they give us Dancing with the Stars, they give us Survivor, they give us reality TV, they give us the Kardashians, they give us all the entertainment, trying to satisfy all of us. And so what entertainment is it that I want? Well, it's not really entertainment. I want news. I want facts. I want information. I want to be prepared. That's what my circus is the actual legitimate true circus, right? This world is a big frickin' circus. I don't have to distract myself to stay entertained, or rather to stay mentally engaged and busy, but it works. So Travis, Hunger will make anyone motivated. Why do you think they haven't unplugged our bank accounts? And why they haven't taken away our food supply? And why they haven't taken away our sports and our porn? But people are rejecting their shit. Fewer and fewer people are watching sports. Why do you think the NFL wanted Bad Bunny, a freaking transsexual, transgender, cross-dressing, homosexual, fucking Latin asswipe to sing at the Super Bowl? And then to tell us the Super Bowl doesn't belong to America. It belongs to the world, because they want other people to watch that shit. We're giving up on it. We as a country, as a culture, are not sold on this shit anymore. I can't tell you how many football fans I've talked to said, I gave up on the NFL. Now I watch college ball on Saturday. Fuck it. At least it's better football. But that's what they're doing. They're losing us. And so they're trying to continue to make their money, appeal to who they can, but that's what they want. And they may end up having to punish us by pulling a Puerto Vallarta and having our cities shut down and attacked. Someone asked me, but we have military here in Florida. Over in the Tampa area, there's a big base. Up in Pensacola, there's a big naval base. You go down into the Florida Keys, there's another naval air station down there. You go up to North Carolina, you got the Marines, and then you've got also the Army, Fort Bragg. And I hope it's still called Fort Bragg. Anyways, they're like, what if they nuke these places? I'm like, they won't. They won't. They can't afford that. They could do some false flags here and some false flags there, but if it is a way to trick and scare our country, our government will not absolutely destroy and nuke something like the military bases in Florida, because then they leave the entire Gulf Coast and also the southern East Coast completely exposed. And then we could be invaded by Latin countries or China and Russia. You don't leave your country open to invasion and then lose all of those assets. So they won't do that. They could do other things. They can do lots of false flags to scare us, regional or citywide, kind of like Puerto Vallarta. They could do that. You know, that's what they could do. But the best thing you can be is be prepared. And don't wait until you're motivated by hunger. I suggest that everyone get motivated by looking around and seeing what's going on and getting yourself prepared. You want some entertainment? Go to the gym. Exercise. Train in the field. Go shooting. That's some entertainment. All right. Thank you, Travis, very, very much. I appreciate that. If you got something to say, folks, the best way to get your thoughts, your comments, your predictions on the screen is that super chat button, or Venmo, CashApp, PayPal is right down there in the descriptions down below. Now, this whole country, folks, we're just in a lot of trouble, in a lot of trouble. And it's the government. It's the people who have gone from the private sector, meaning businesses like you and I that have to work at, over to the public sector. Government jobs. I've got a great example of exactly what's wrong with this entire fucking country. A U.S. airman, that means an Air Force enlisted man, U.S. airman, and his husband are busted. They were pulling an $11 million scam. How the hell? $11 million scam. He stole $3 million in government medical supplies and has been funding his homosexual luxury lifestyle. That's right. Staff Sergeant Richard Dick Stephen Ramroop. There's a name, Ramroop. I wonder if he was ever called Ram Poop. That's a good one, man. Ram Poop. Anyways, Richard Stephen Ramroop, age 35, and his spouse, Manuel George Madrid, age 32. That's right. Gay Air Force slime bag. Probably kept everyone in his unit silent. Everyone in his unit afraid to criticize what he was doing because he's a flaming gay in a gay marriage. Once again, mental disorders are not limited to lusting after other men's hairy butts. The mental disorders lend themselves to other immoral and criminal activities like fraud, theft, murder, and, of course, pedophilia. Prove me wrong. And you can't, because the psychology and psychological data supports my perspective. But this is an example of what's going on in our country, in our government. We've got people that show up, they're immoral, they're mentally deranged, they're fruitcakes from other cultures. Stefan Ramrup, right? And Manuel Jorge Madrid. Yeah, they showed up. They get in the military. They get a little bit of stripes on their arm. They say, hey, look at us, we're gay. And then they start stealing, right? $3 million in government medical supplies, sells them for $11 million. Yeah, unbelievable. I'm surprised they caught him. I'm surprised they busted him. So it's unbelievable what's happening, but it's happening. And so we talk about what is happening, folks. Me, you, all of us. Because it's not a passing phase. It's not a bad week. Things aren't getting better. They're getting nastier. Things aren't getting smarter. They're getting stupider, right? For example, Trump, who is already in political trouble. He's already told us, you, me, us, the people that are paying for this fucking country, right? He's telling us, I don't need your votes. I don't need your support. I don't need you people at all. Anyways, he's decided he's going to endorse Governor Hot Wheels Abbott in Texas. Unbelievable, right? Well, guess what? Syed Javier Anwar, who happens to be Greg Abbott, Governor Abbott's top Muslim donor, right? There's a huge debate in Texas over Sharia law and the Islamization of Texas. And this giant pile of shit is donating money to this giant piece of shit governor. And Trump turns around and endorses a governor that's taking money from a foreign religious leader with a shit pile of money, right? And it's crazy. How can Abbott have a massive Muslim donor and have us, the people, not be suspicious of the arrangement and the funding and the quid pro quo? And what does he got to give this guy for all this money? The same way Trump has $250 million to pay for his campaign. And now it appears he doesn't need us. He doesn't need us a bit. This fucking country is in big trouble, folks. Big trouble. And it's not, I mean, it's very big. It's discouraging, it's upsetting, etc. Mr. Uman, let's do it. What do we want to talk about? What do you guys in the crowd want to talk about? It's your show, and it's Viking, it's Boomer, and it's $20 super chat. And he says, now that Trump's going to endorse the UFO, UAF, UAP, and maybe the Area 51 files, watch those interdimensional beings make more appearances all over the place. Oh, yeah. I had someone get a hold of me and ask. They said, John, what is Project Blue Beam? What is Project Blue Beam? Folks, everyone, share the internet address. Share this video with everyone. Get them here to wake the hell up, and thank you for being here. Right now, we're at over 320 people live, and, well, I'm live as well. You just can't see me because somehow my computer has decided that my camera doesn't exist. In any event, Viking, thanks for the great super chat donation. You're putting, well, spam and tuna fish in the pantry and helping keep the lights on and everything paid for. Anyways, Project Bluebeam is a holographic propaganda program that our government has been working on and perfecting for at least 30 years. So they can use lasers and create 3D imagery in the skies during the day, during the night, and create the appearance of whatever they want. They could create religious figures in the sky to convince people, hey, it's second coming of Christ, or hey, it could be Benjamin Netanyahu's head floating in the sky. He's our new God, right? Or maybe Jeffrey Epstein. But as you suggest, Viking, it'll probably be aliens, the mothership, right? They need to convince us to look to the government as the source of our solutions and our salvation, our protection and our leadership, rather than looking at them for what they are, which is a bunch of pedophiles, pedophile protectors, a bunch of people who are subject to extortion and love to take bribes and line their pockets, feather their nests, and make sure they've got lots of wealth as the rest of the country suffers. Oh, they would love to just convince us and scare the ever-loving shit out of us. I mean, after over 100 years, literally, folks, I know everyone thinks of the start of the UFO phenomenon was Roswell in 1947, or maybe the flying saucer incident over the Cascade Mountains in Washington State, same year. That's when the term flying saucer was coined. But there have been strange, odd flying objects in our skies for, well, in America for a couple hundred years, and certainly around the world. They even show up in artwork, literal artwork. Renaissance artwork has little flying spaceships and shit. In any event, they want to admit it now. You remember when Clinton was in trouble over the Lewinsky files? Oh, Lewinsky, Monica Lewinsky. Yeah, she's Jewish. Not a honeypot. I mean, wow, sounds like she just might be a honeypot, huh? And Clinton didn't want to behave, and all of a sudden, Monica Lewinsky's name's out in public, and her little blue dress covered in Bill's very special sauce. And yeah. And didn't he have pizza? Didn't they have pizza? They had pizza parties with Lewinsky in the White House kitchen. Now that I remember that, yeah, they just having some pizza. Now today we know what pizza's all about, don't we? Yes, we do. In any event, Bill Clinton, in order to distract from his troubles, decided to bomb a milk factory, an aspirin factory. What else did he bomb, claiming he was protecting the country? More distractions. It's always distractions, folks. It's always distractions. All right. Thank you, Viking. Yankee Watchdog checks in. And he says, we already have enough aliens here from this planet. We don't need more from some other planet. No, but that's what they need to do. That's, thank you, Yankee, very much. And thank you, Boomer, very much, Viking. I'm going to tell you guys the single biggest motivating factor in the human mind and psyche is fear. Fear. Thank you, Uman. Greed is a big deal. Fear, though, is the single biggest motivating factor. People can run pretty fast when they're running towards something they want. They can run a whole lot faster if they're scared of something. So they need to scare us. They scare us with war. They scare us with financial collapse. Sometimes we go to war to hide a financial collapse. But when the leaders are in trouble, they'll use war. They'll use their biggest one now, aliens, the unknown. You see, fear is the biggest motivator. Well, you can fear wolves. You can fear, lions getting loose out of the zoo. You can fear your neighbors who are assholes. But the thing that you are the most fearful of is the unknown. The unknown. Religious organizations like to use hell to scare people. You're not just going to be punished. You're going to be eternally punished. You're going to burn, 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 and it's never going to stop burning eternally, forever, in hell. If you don't, well, hand your money over to your religious leader. And I'm not a big fan of scaring people with hell. But they do it because fear is the single biggest motivator. Also scares people. Transgenders. They scare the hell out of people. They scare the hell out of me because they're violent, murderous fucks. But they won't go away. I thought we defeated them. Nope, sorry. I thought they were backtracking. No, not quite. They're still at it. They're not going to quit. They're not going to go away, folks. The only way to defeat the enemy is to destroy the enemy. And I mean outright, all the way, total destruction. In Minnesota, a trans right, or maybe it's a tranny freak who wants trans rights to stay in the front of everyone's face. So this tranny freak is in state Congress, not Washington, D.C., but the Minnesota State House. And this fruitcake, who dresses like a woman but has a dick, says children need to have access to gay homosexual, anal sex pornography, and they need access to it in school. Why? Because they might decide they're gay or trans and need to say how they have sex. They need to be educated with gay sex and all the worst, disgusting, most filthy shit in school. And that, my friends, my countrymen, my feral, moral, decent people, that is the retarded mentality of these fucking morons. It's not stupidity. They're not stupidly saying this is what we should do. It's intentional. The intention is to destroy this country. They want you afraid of them too. They want you afraid that they're going to take your lives, take your money, take your job, and take your children. Oh, you bet. They want to take your children. They're out there trying to have the government take kids from us. In fact, someone I know very recently, thought their kid got lost. Well, he's just in the backyard playing hide and seek. Crazy world, folks. The police show up. Kid's already back. He was hiding in the backyard, right? Police show up and start giving the parents a hard time. I don't know if you're fit parents. I need to find out and ask you some questions. Make sure you know what you're talking about. Make sure you're decent parents. These are hardworking people that make $100,000 a year, live in suburbia, have a house, a car, a white picket fence, right? They are clean. They are non-criminal. And the police are there giving them a hard time. Meanwhile, you could drive across the street, because I know where this person lives. They're a real human being. And you drive across the street, there's fucking illegals all over the place, up and down the street. But just like England, you don't bother with them. You leave those sons of bitches alone, and you go after the harmless people and intimidate them. Put fear in the minds of people who pay the bills. All right, enough of my shit. Mr. Uman, let's pull one from the crowd. What do we want to talk about? We got a great crowd. We're at 350 people live, and we've got Big German Prepared. And he says, we don't need Russia or China coming against us. We have the Democrats that are trying to kill America. And they're doing a hell of a good job, aren't they, German? You bet they are. Yeah, Russia and China, they're not retarded over there. They're not retarded. I don't know how much of China took the Jim Jones juice, but they're not allowing Muslims in their country. And I know Russia, I don't know how many of them took the Jim Jones juice, but they're not retarded, and they're not letting, the Rothschild banking cartel into their country. They're not letting Muslims take over their country. But here in the West, in America, in Europe, in Australia, they're letting these fucking idiots in. Our own countrymen in our countries, Europe, Canada, America, Australia, they're letting illegals, they're letting everyone in to destroy them. Russia and China don't have to do a damn thing. They're watching us kill ourselves. What I wouldn't give to have an American leader who loves this country with the strength and the, how do I say this? Patriotism for America that Putin has for Russia. I've seen this a lot on the online, folks. People saying that they wish America had someone as strong and courageous and good as Putin has, or as Russia has in their leader, Putin. Right now, here's the wisdom. When your enemy is destroying themselves, don't try and stop them. Don't get in the way. America, I'm not worried about Russia. Not one fucking bit am I worried about Russia. I would welcome China invading us over what our own government is doing to us with drug dealers and fucking pedophiles, with all of the corruption and filth, fraud and crime, drugs, the fucking pharmaceutical cartels, the oil cartels, the military industrial complex. All they want to do is screw us over and destroy us. Well, while of course enriching themselves. I don't think China would be nearly as bad. And while I am being kind of tongue-in-cheek and a smartass, think about it. If Russia came to our country, what would they do? What would Russia want to do with America? Well, they would want to do what we would want to do, I think, and that is get this country producing enough income to pay for itself and produce, additional wealth. Right? Isn't that what everyone should want to do? See, there's two ways to go about business, folks. You can take a business model, and let's just say mining, or even agriculture, or how about manufacturing? And you could say, well, you could run those businesses intelligently and make them profitable. Or you could sell off their assets piece by piece, one by one. You could commit stock trader fraud by releasing false financial data, lying to investors. And then you could pay yourself a very exorbitant salary, buying yourself a nice, a palatial estate in some other country, rob your fucking country blind, steal all the money you can, sell off the country, let it crash on the stock market, and then flee the country, right? And that's what we have going on. We have these foreign and international businessmen that run our media, entertainment, military-industrial complex, our financial system, and pharmaceutical systems on Wall Street. And they're screwing us over. They're destroying the country rather than helping this country run in a very smooth, intelligent fashion so that all the businesses are profitable and we all do well. That's what I think Russia would do if they took over America. I'd welcome that over what these motherfuckers are doing. These international globalist scumbags that have no allegiance to any country other than Israel. They tend to be all about themselves and enriching themselves. Fuck them. Thank you, Big German Prepared. I appreciate it. And now I'm going to kind of switch gears with you folks again. We're an hour and 15 minutes in. If you've got a topic that you've got to have, that you've got to see that I've missed, then all you have to do is hit that super chat button. Man, we'll see what you want to talk about, and we'll put you up on the board. We'll put you up on the board, up on the screen, and, well, shit, I'll make you famous. But get this, folks. Finally, an 11-year-old who has murdered his father is being held accountable. That's right, an 11-year-old boy has been accused of murdering his father who adopted him. He's an adopted son. Well, why would he murder his adopted father? Well, all we know is that apparently it had to do with a Nintendo Switch. I guess maybe the adopted father said, that's it, get your ass outside, go play some baseball with the boys. Anyways, the government's decided they're going to hold a trial for this 11-year-old kid and try him as an adult. But haven't we seen dozens of teen criminals who commit assault, who violently bash people and send them to the hospital, rob them, rape them, even kill them, murder them? Dozens and dozens of these crimes, only to hear that these kids get light sentences for murder or no sentence at all because the judge is a Democrat. So why now is an 11-year-old boy, not even a teenager, who is being accused of killing his adopted father, why is he being tried as an adult? Well, let me give you one fucking clue. He's white. He's a four-eyed, he wears glasses, a four-eyed white boy, 11-year-old, is going to be tried as an adult because he killed his daddy. Unbelievable, right? Didn't Kilmar Abrego Garcia, hasn't he been accused of trafficking children, beating his girlfriend here in America? In order to be MS-13, you've got to kill family members. They won't try him as an adult. In fact, they can't even arrest him again. Unfucking believable, my friends. What do you want to talk about? Right up there in the right-hand corner, just above the screen, is a super chat button. Hit that. You, my friends, your donations are appreciated. They pay the bills, and it gets you on the screen what you want to talk about. But right now, while waiting for that, and folks, we're at an hour and 15. We got 45 more minutes left in the show. And I've got something that I think is very important to consider. Think about how things have changed just in the matter of the last year and a half. What do we got there? What do we got? We got something big coming up there, Mr. Uman? Here we go. Franny's Farm. She's checking in. Says, what about our unhinged ambassador to Israel? That would be former Governor Mike Huckabee, saying the Bible promised the Jews the lands from the Nile all the way to the Euphrates. And that is what Israel wants. We don't need any part of this lunacy. I agree with you 100%, Franny's Farm. That's the Greater Israel Project. If you look at uniforms for the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force, perhaps Uman can pull up the IDF patch that shows the Greater Israel Project. It's part of a map. And it shows exactly what Franny is described here, right? It shows the Nile all the way over to the Euphrates River as part of the Greater Israel Project. Yeah. Now, this is funny because Benjamin Netanyahu, he actually is an atheist, but they use the Bible. They use the Old Testament and they use the Talmud as justification for the actions of taking the property and of other countries. This includes parts of Syria, Jordan, Lebanon, Egypt, I believe, is it Iraq or Iran or both of them? No, it would be a part of Iran. They want to annex other countries. Now, here's the thing. How do they do this? How do they get away with it? How does Israel get away with all this bullshit? Well, I can tell you. Uman, Chelsea has checked in with a $50 super chat on Venmo. So look out for Chelsea P or Chelsea Weerung and husband. Wanted to let you know that has come through. But back to Israel. How do they get away with this shit? How do they kill somewhere between 600,000 people and 1 million people in Gaza? And that includes children, infants, toddlers, women, little girls. How do they kill that many people? How do they bomb Gaza, the Gaza Strip, which is the area that lines the Mediterranean coast? How do they kill all those fucking people? And we can't call it genocide. And if you call it genocide, and I will, they'll call you anti-Semite. What the fuck does anti-Semitism have to do with me pointing out mass murder and the annexation, or rather the destruction and ultimately annexation of a different country, the Palestinian people? Not that I love a bunch of fucking terrorists, because a lot of them were, but not all of them. How does Israel, how does Netanyahu get away with it? Because of what they themselves call an old trick. Anyone doubts you, anyone questions you, anyone gives you a hard time, all you do is look at them and call them an anti-Semite. You scream the Holocaust, and then you point to the Bible and say, God promised us this. God promised us from the Euphrates all the way to the Nile, the Holy Land. Oh, yeah. But it's a fucking lie. It's literally a lie. That's how they get part of it. And we don't need to be a part of this. But if Israel wants one partner in the world to back them, to be the big guy standing behind the little Weasley sack of shit that Israel is, well, they've got the United States, don't they? The United States government, the president, the Congress, including both House and Senate, they are in the pocket of Israel, and Israel says so. Israel makes that claim. They brag about that shit, that they own our government. Look at the money, $250 million they gave to Trump. And he's like, you bet, I'll back you with the U.S. military. Folks, one of our warships, right? $250 million. Any one of our warships, even the smallest vessel over there off the coast of Iran gets sunk, it's worth more than $250 million. Not to mention the lives of sailors and Marines on those ships. But hell, Trump will trade that for $250 million as long as he gets elected. I don't fucking like this a bit, folks. I do not like my fellow Marines, sailors, soldiers, and airmen being exposed to an enemy chemical warfare, germ warfare, nuclear warfare, hypersonic missiles, all because religion A in Israel, which hates Christianity, has a problem with religion B, the religious leaders of Iran, who hate Christianity. They hate each other. They want to blow each other up. And we get drug into it because, well, religion C in Washington, D.C., which is called greedy politicians, will take the money and do whatever is said. Man, do we have anything from Chelsea lined up? Just keep an eye out. There we go. We got Chelsea P. and husband checking in. Says, for our super chat sent via Venmo, we just wanted to tell John we hope he is healing up well and wish for a speedy recovery. Chelsea, I'd like to say thank you to you and the husband, because that's the we. I am healing up and a little better every day. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I had an ankle injury that is taken care of. A shoulder injury is on the mend. Physical therapy hurts. I think physical therapists are sadistic. They take pride in their work, and their work always hurts. So that's why they're sadists. My ribs, which I tore up the cartilage and some of the muscle in there, is really doing a lot better. And then the surgery that I had is still hurting, still recovering, but in much better shape. Thank you so much. I'm back to being able to drink. That's important. Having a good scotch, having a glass of wine, all those things are terrific. Thank you for the great support, though. Luckily, I'm able to work at my job professionally. That allows me, because the people I work with have what I call fuck you money, and they like me, and they like what I have to say, and they like how I get shit done. So fortunately, we're doing great. You guys support us. It's just absolutely fabulous. And we're good. But $50 super chat. I'm going to pour, in fact, because it is a $50, I'm going to pour a scotch. So, man, let's listen to the microphone loudly. And I don't know, could you hear that scotch being poured? All right, now I'm gonna give it a nice slurp right down the hatch. Woo! I'm telling you, that's one of the most ridiculous ways to drink a single malt 18-year Glenfiddich, but man, was that good. Oh, good golly. Thank you, Chelsea and husband. I appreciate the support and also the well-wishing. Speedy recovery coming right up. Mr. Uman, what else we got out there? Anything of note? And Doc checks in. I wonder if that's my friend Doc. Anyways, $5 super chat. And he says, it's like Pyramid Lake. Everything they tell us is a lie. Well, that is a multi-layered comment in just 2 short sentences. Years ago, folks, I decided to pack up the green tank, a camera, a telephoto lens, and I decided I was going to go to Pyramid Lake, which is, I think it's in Nevada, but it's right on the Nevada-California border. And I wanted to prove or disprove a claim that was made. And the claim that was made is the Earth is not the size and shape they claim it is. And ultimately, physics is a lie. Just like Doc says, Doc 1975, everything they tell us is a lie. So I drove, and by the way, they took the video down. The very first thing they did was demonetize it. They claimed that I broke copyright rules, and then they took the video down altogether. Some people said they saw some unidentified flying objects because it is out there in the desert, but in Nevada. But what I did is I showed up there. I put a camera 18 inches off the top of the lake. It was a windless day, no wind, and I was exactly 15 miles away from the pyramid. There's a pyramidal shaped rock. It looks like a pyramid. That's why they call it Pyramid Lake. 15 miles away across the lake, and I was able to capture on film and see the water line and every single layer, because it looks literally like stacked rocks, like a pyramid, and you can count them. And the rock, the pyramid, after 15 miles should have been almost completely hidden by Earth's curvature. So basically, everything is a fucking lie. And it's a different lie at every level. Now, that one I proved for myself. Other cases, I've talked to physicists and rocket scientists who have told me that math is a lie. You get up to the highest levels of math and it's a lie. And that's how they keep national secrets from falling into the hands of our enemies. For example, in the 1990s, China could not launch a rocket into space. Well, it's because they didn't have the correct math. So Bill Clinton probably accepted a very large political contribution from L'Oreal Space. And he authorized them to sell China our mathematical secrets, how to put a satellite into space, or the area above the Earth, if you will, low Earth orbit, and keep it there. And now they have the ability to launch into space as well as launch intercontinental nuclear-tipped ballistic missiles, ICBMs. So now China has the ability to send ICBMs, well, to anywhere in the world that they don't like. But there was a lie there. There was mathematics, and they don't teach those mathematics in colleges. Those are just a couple examples of the lies they tell us. They try and tell us we have a constitutional republic because of our Constitution. Yet we look around and, well, pedophiles that don't just pedophile, they kidnap, they torture, they rape, they hunt, they murder, they roast children, they drink their blood, they eat their internal organs. But people that do that, and we have their names, we have their admissions. The Department of Justice has not just pictures, but fucking video of this. And they won't arrest anybody. That's our government in the United States. You want to talk about a lie that we're law and order? That, well, we're not going to tolerate some country and their immorality. Meanwhile, what do we get? What a fucked up world. Thank you, Doc, very much for that. And speaking of fucked up and lies and bullshit and what the hell, I've got one for you right here. Are you ready for this? Stand by, right? JP Morgan, the bank. And didn't we just learn today that the head of JP Morgan, the man named Jamie Dimon, Dimon, is on Epstein's list? Well, JP Morgan has admitted that they closed over 50 of President Trump's bank accounts after January 6, 2021. They're admitting it. How funny is that, huh? Now that Trump is on, well, his leash, JP Morgan's leash, now that he's on AIPAC's leash, that's the America-Israeli, and I call it a political action committee, the PAC. Now that he's on their leash, Trump has all his bank accounts and they're operating. They're just fine. He's not having his bank accounts shut down. To me, that's very clear evidence Trump is obeying his masters finally. If there was ever a time when he wanted to save America, that time is long gone. He's converted to Judaism, it appears. He put a little beanie on and banged his head on a rock wall over in Jerusalem. Right? I think this should serve as a warning and a lesson to us, America, and all the free world, that we are not safe, and that the system, whether we're talking about legal system or financial system, it can be turned on us and weaponized at any time. Right? This idea that we're a free people, it's a lie. That we have law and order, it's a lie. That America is the greatest country on earth, it's a fucking lie. We are a captured and controlled political system that does the bidding, that is the footstool and stooge of those who have the money to buy our politicians. I have zero faith in the system anymore, folks. Pretty soon, all of us will have nothing to lose, much like the French did. Just like the French did in the late 1700s, after the American Revolution, the French said, we've got nothing to lose. We're starving. We are overtaxed. We have no future. We may as well rebel. And they did. And they literally captured all of the politicians of the time. The king, the queen, the aristocrats, the bureaucrats, the tax man, the treasurer, that would be the count, right? The Count de Monet. And they cut their fucking heads off, literally, publicly. They didn't have a long court system, a trial that lasted years while lawyers enriched themselves and they lied. Nope. They captured them. They knew who did what because they knew they're all guilty. No sense in fucking wasting time. And they just killed them. You think the people in charge, the rich bastards in America, in Europe, in Australia, and Canada, the ones that are hiding in South America, the ones that are hiding in little islands around the world, the ones in Israel, do you think they want to get captured and have their heads cut off? No, 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 no. They don't want us coming for them with torches and pitchforks. They don't. Now, Americans in 1776, they had a little bit of money, but they saw what was happening. They were being overtaxed. They were being tormented. They were being blockaded by the British. They were being blackmailed. They were being arrested for crimes they didn't commit, while the government itself did commit crimes like theft, fraud, using the courts for fake trials. The British military, that would be your basic law enforcement. Today's version is the Department of Justice, the FBI, state police, local police. Thank you, Mr. Uman. And it was horrible. They were taking people's property from their homes, hence the Fourth and Fifth Amendments. They were taking people's businesses, hence the Fourth and Fifth Amendments. They were going to people's homes, hence the Fourth and Fifth Amendments, and stealing their property. Oh, here comes the Second Amendment. They were taking people's wives and daughters and raping them, and then burning farms and burning businesses. And the people finally realized, well, you might be able to live and make a little money and get by. At the same time, you say the wrong thing, piss off the wrong person, and they'll come and destroy you. That's where America is right now, today. We've gone from 6 years ago, before COVID-19, before I said, that's it, shit has hit the fan. We had our country. We didn't believe that there were pedophiles all through every corporation, every bank, every government structure, around every country around the world. We didn't believe that back then. But now we have the evidence, don't we? We thought we had a country with truth, justice, courts, a criminal justice system that worked. But all of these pedophiles, all of these government employees, all of these financiers, all of these bankers, all of these corporate scumbags have all admitted, along with, well, the entertainment and media industry, judges have admitted through their correspondence that they're fucking pedophiles, that they're cannibals, that they torture people, kidnap people, screw people over, control people. That's a lesson for America, huh? Right? A lesson for Americans wanting to take torches and pitchforks to the pedophile rulers of Washington, D.C. and Wall Street. Folks, right now, thousands of French patriots are having a rally in Lyon, France. Why? Because Antifa killed a conservative student. Well, their march does a couple of things, folks. This march, this rally and march is showing solidarity. You got that, French government? The French people are together. They're unified. Well, guess what? Protests let the elites know that we aren't happy. But violence, and only violence, literal direct violence and execution of those who are in charge and who are evil, is the only way to force them to leave the country, to surrender their power or surrender their lives. March all you want in France. March all you want in America. It doesn't solve a fucking thing. It doesn't. We can march. We can get loud. Great. You're waking up people. You're showing them what you consider to be the truth and the facts. But it won't change a fucking thing. Government will just lie to us, right? Right, Doc? They lie to us. They'll tell us what we want to hear as long as we shut up. And then they'll give us our bread and circus. Some entertainment. Some good food. They'll make things easy. They'll tell us how good the economy is. They'll stop taxing us as much as long as we let them maintain power. But they're not going to change what they're doing. If you think for a second that since Jeffrey Epstein has escaped prison, that he's no longer in power, that he's no longer doing anything evil, and that the rest of the pedophiles around the world quit doing it. They've quit taking their adrenochrome that's been harvested from kidnapped children, that they're no longer eating children, they're no longer raping children. If you believe that, right, you deserve to be owned by these people. So, march all you want, but it's violence that solves problems. I'm not telling anyone to commit violence. I'm not telling anyone to do anything harmful or dangerous. But if you think about it, it's violence and only violence that solves problems. Look at the government. Take it as the prime example. Governments go to war. Violence. And it's to impose their will on other countries. That's what war does. You go there, you commit great acts of violence, you kill their people until the government gives up, and now you impose your will upon them. Now, here in our country, on a smaller scale, both states and cities send police around to impose their will using violence and the threat of violence. Law enforcement. And that's how they impose their will upon us and make us give them what they want. So why should we, the people of this country, why should we tolerate thousands and tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of children being kidnapped, raped, murdered, and even eaten? Why should we tolerate that and not get violent? Government has failed. They're failing to use the police to protect us and our children from these evil perpetrators. Government has failed. Get mad, folks. Government has failed. Get informed and inform others. Government has failed us. Get prepared. Government has turned against us. So stay informed and be prepared, folks. When time comes and action calls, you'll know it. You'll know it. I'm not encouraging violence or anything illegal, but when it happens, you're going to see it. Whether it's violent terrorists attacking us or whether we need to join together and show up at the homes of these evil people, at their bunkers, at their government offices, at their corporate offices. We need to show up en masse and use the same tactic that local, state, and even federal government uses. They use violence. But see, we're not doing it to impose our will upon another country. We're doing it to tell our government, you work for us, and we are defending our own children. We're defending innocence. We're defending law and order against you, government, who have now refused to do that very one and only thing you're supposed to do, and that's protect us. Government uses violence. Government understands violence. The only thing that will fix our government is the same thing that fixed British government, the king, in 1776. That was American violence, the Revolutionary War. And what saved the French people from starving to death and being absolutely destroyed by the king and their aristocracy? They used violence against the government in France in the 1790s. If violence is good for them, why is not violence good for us? It's a philosophical question. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. No? N'est-ce pas? Huh? It's one and the other, right? Come see, come saw. All right, Mr. Uman, let's do it. Let's have some fun with the crowd. We got Courageous Cat with a $50 super chat donation and writes, John looks and probably sounds thirsty. Thank you, Courageous Cat. $50 super chat. I'm going to pour me right now a Glenfiddich, 18 years single malt scotch, And I got the bottle right next to the microphone. You hear that, man? I poured a tall one there, amigo. Thank you, courageous cat. And now I'm going to loudly and I'm going to slurp this scotch down. And that's the only way you can know that I'm actually slurping it down, even though it's a bad etiquette, bad form to slurp a scotch. But here it is. Oh, man, that is not the way. Whoa. Do not inhale scotch. But I got to tell you, my lungs appreciate it because that is damn fine scotch. Woo! Thank you, courageous cat. Okay, Mr. Uman. Lesson for America taught. Violence fixes problems. Big Dan the man is checking in with a $2 super chat. And he says, just got here. I see ScrewTube is at it again. I tell you what, Dan, I recommend starting the show over at the very beginning. There's some very fun, exciting stuff there, my good man. I read off a large number of Epstein's clients, his pedophile clients, and also their religious affiliation. Very interesting. But they killed my camera, and no matter how many times I tried resetting it, wouldn't happen. Wouldn't reset. So here I am once again. Thank you very much for the support, Big Dan. Your contributions will make sure the lights stay on and the show will go on. Now, folks, shit has hit the fan. Shit has hit the fan. And our enemies aren't just foreign countries with foreign religions that hate us. Our enemies are right here in this country because they've been bought and paid for by those same countries that hate us. And they bring their money to this country and buy our politicians. But, they aren't using direct warfare against us. They're using psychological warfare. They're using immoral and corrupt social standards to fuck us over. I'm going to give you an example of how they are tormenting and using terror, literal terrorism in this country. Not the terrorism like they have right now in Puerto Vallarta. Puerto Vallarta, that scotch is working. Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. This is domestic terrorism at its most subtle and finest. Now, someone was murdered viciously by a transgender gender. Or is that transgender bender? And having a child viciously murdered by one of these freaks is bad enough. But the family of the victim, they want to have a funeral. Now, the family victim is not a dad or a mom, but a 12-year-old little girl. An American girl by the name of Kylie Smith was viciously murdered by a transgender scumbag. This family wants to have a funeral, but they feel that they've had to cancel it, that they were forced to cancel it. Why? Because death threats. Death threats are terrorism. And it's coming from the tranny-loving pedophiles out there. That's right, folks. The tranny-loving pedophiles are threatening families that just want to have a funeral for their child who was killed. Do you think Kylie Smith, a 12-year-old little girl, tormented and beat up a transgender, and that's why this transgender killed? No, the transgender killed her, just like all the transgender murders and mass murders out there, because they're sick in the fucking head. They're taking mind control drugs that typically cause suicidal and, homicidal tendencies, along with hormones, right? Every joke out there about women who are off their fucking rocker on hormones because, it's that time of the month, right? Premenstrual syndrome, PMS, it's some of that anger time, right? Women out there aren't using that as an excuse to murder, but these trannies are, because they're on these mind-bending fucking drugs. And that's fine, right? They get to threaten everyone. It's still terrorism. Whether it's drug-induced or not, it's terrorism. But it's an immoral, disgusting, sexual, perverted bunch of people who are now using terrorism to stop people. Not to stop these murders, just to have a fucking funeral. That's the country we live in now, folks. That's the country we live in now. And Trump derangement syndrome is also to blame. Apparently, these people can't keep their shit straight, and just TDS alone will cause you to become violent. You know, we need to be concerned about ourselves as well. If someone wants to kill Trump, you know, this dumbass who is an armed intruder who snuck into Mar-a-Lago and raised his weapon, and Secret Service just waxed him. We need to be very careful, very alert. And I think just about every week, Blue Core Devil does a super chat donation and tells us to watch our six. I couldn't agree more. Folks, be sure to be prepping with items, food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine. Get in good shape. Train, exercise, as Chin Music has suggested. We need to be in better shape. We need to watch our six. You know, understand, be alert, head on a swivel, all that. And it's not going to just go away. We need to be vigilant. Our personal vigilance for ourselves and those we love and those around us is key to handling this rapidly evolving SHTF world. Because that's what it is. It's rapidly evolving. We're now learning, these terrorists in Mexico, these drug lords, these drug cartels can become regular old terrorists in no time at all, and completely entrap a city, start setting it on fire, killing people, taking hostages. It can go that quickly, folks. That quickly. We can go from 0 to 100 just like that. Now, it is, what time is it? Holy cow. We've got about 10 minutes left on Sunday Night Live. If you've got something you want to say, we got a super chat button at the top, just to the above and just to the right of the screen on computers. I don't know where it's at on televisions, and I don't know where the super chat button is on phones. But yeah, we got people watching on all different manner of social media viewing. But that's how you get on the screen with your questions and comments, is that way. And you guys support this channel. You pay the bills for it. You make it so I can come here rather than having 3 jobs. I only have 2. So your guys' support keeps me from having to work 3 fucking jobs. All right. Let's do this. I've got a couple things I want to talk about, but Mr. Ooman, let's pull one out of the hat. And we got Redneck Roughneck, who's here through the middle of the week as well on the Prepared Mind channel. And he says, in my opinion, Israel is planning a war on U.S. soil by allowing all these Muslims to enter our country. I agree 100%. The people that have been brought here have not been brought here to culturally enrich our country. They've been brought here to take over our country. They have stated, these Muslims that have shown up, that that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to populate, reproduce, intimidate, and take control of our government structures, introduce Sharia law, and use violence to convert us or just kill us as infidel. They are here to make war on us. Now, Redneck Roughneck continues. How long before the Jews decide to decimate the Muslims here with help from us, or will the Muslims prevail? Well, this is an interesting quandary that you bring up. Why would they bring them here? Why would our government, which is paid off by both the Muslims and the Israelis, why would they want them here? Well, they need our country destroyed by hook or by crook. Financial, military, ecological, economic, religious, whatever destruction they can bring on this country, it's great for both of those religious organizations. Both the Muslims and Jews, they want to conquer and destroy America. They want our wealth for themselves. And they think that this country magically fucking produces money. No, you have to go mine the minerals. You have to process them into metals. You have to give value to them by creating useful objects with the metals. You have to grow food, right? You have to produce things. You can't just live in a country and it magically fucking does that. But these people don't understand it. These un-American, anti-American, anti-Christian. They're anti-Christian, anti-white, anti-Christian, hate-filled parasites. They're here to enrich themselves, destroy us. And what does the parasite do? I'll ask you the question again. Let's use a dog, for example. A dog that is not cared for, kind of like a country that is not cared for. A dog that is not cared for gets parasites all over it. It gets fleas and ticks. Fleas and ticks. And they suck the blood out of the dog. Fleas and ticks. And they'll do that. And unless someone cleans the dog up, how do you clean up a dog? With the same way you clean up a country. Morality, law and order. The dog, you scrub it down, you clean those parasites off, and you get rid of them. You kill the parasites. But if you don't, the parasites will kill the dog. What happens when the dog dies? Well, the ticks can't suck any blood. The fleas can't suck any blood off the dog. They just leave. The parasites don't die. They just leave and go try and find another host that they can live off of. I described Russia earlier, saying if Russia took over our country, and actually, folks, the Germans, the Nazis of World War II, had a plan for the United States of America should they defeat America. They weren't going to come over and take over the country. They weren't going to make us speak German. They were going to control the government and make the country productive and pay for itself. And I believe Russia would have done the same thing if they won. Not as communists, but if Russia were to invade now, they would want farmers to produce food. They would want mines to produce metals. They would want factories to produce goods. They would want other people to produce, services that are of value. Here we are. We have parasites in our country trying to take it over, and they're living off of our blood. And they're going to continue to proliferate and be parasites until they kill this country, our country, the United States of America, our country, our constitutional republic that at one time was the greatest country on the earth, the biggest military and economic powerhouse. You'll notice I didn't say financial powerhouse. I said economic. Economics is production, means of production. That's farms, mines, factories. Now it's a financial powerhouse where people invest money in companies around the world. While these companies enrich themselves, enrich their investors. And I don't mean investors like me and you, but rather their wealthy banker friends. They're parasitically destroying us. And now we have a bunch of fleas that have been brought over here. I'm talking now about third world welfare scum that have been brought here from Central and South America, as well as Africa, the Middle East, and the Far East. They're here to suck us dry. Look at what they're doing up in Minnesota with all the Somalis. They're also covering Washington, Oregon, California, New Mexico, Colorado, Texas, Florida, Illinois, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota. Oh, they're all over the place, folks. Connecticut, New York State, Ohio, Pennsylvania. They're just absolute parasites. Absolute parasites trying to destroy this country. What are we going to do about it, folks? Torches and pitchforks? You think you're going to vote your way out of this? Well, first I'm going to tell you I recommend getting prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. And then you better realize, you better understand, you better get a firm grip on the stock or pistol, right? And realize that when reason doesn't work anymore, when logic, when an accurate and, shall I say, positive and productive philosophy don't work, when the court system fails, when government doesn't do its job, we're left with the very last resort. It's called violence. Whether we start it or they start it, the only way to fix our problem is to take that violence and remove the government. The Constitution lays it out. The Declaration of Independence tells us directly we don't have to live with a government that fucks us over, that takes advantage of us, that violates our rights, that is tyrannical in every single way. And our government is tyrannical in every single way, local, state, and federal. Whether it has to do with our kids, our jobs, our incomes, our freedoms, our property, our private property, our communications, our ability to defend ourselves. They are tyrannical on every single front. And now they're inviting enemies into this country, people that hate us, hate our way of life, hate our religious morality, hate our fundamental system. They're inviting these people in to destroy us. Tell us our government isn't evil. Read the Declaration of Independence, my friends. Read it. It talks about how King George of England invited foreigners, people from Europe, people from Canada, as well as the, let's just call them savages, because I think that's what they were called back then. The uncivilized natives that were willing to go fight and kill white settlers, white colonists in colonial America. They brought them in to do just that, and that's what they did until the people said, enough of this shit. Our own government is fighting and paying to have people come and fight us and kill us and destroy us, and we've had enough. When will America have enough, folks? Well, get prepared, because I think that as soon as we have something akin to Puerto Vallarta or another 9/11 or maybe an October 7th, or maybe we're going to have another USS Liberty where one of our warships is attacked by a so-called ally, only to have our enemies blamed in an effort to get us into a war to help hide their ugly, satanic selves. Mr. Uman, he says, every special interest group is pushing everyone to the level of fatigue, and it's going to backfire on every one of them. Yeah. Oh, I mean, the good guys, folks. In war, the good guys always get killed. There's never been a war that Marines didn't die, that U.S. Army didn't get and have times where people were killed and slaughtered. There's never been a war where the Navy didn't suffer losses and casualties and death. In fact, Thomas Jefferson said, every 20 years, we need to have a revolution. And he stated that from time to time, the tree of liberty needs to be watered with the blood of saints and tyrants. In other words, the saints, the good guys, us, we're going to suffer for this. I don't know who's going to live and who's going to make it, but I do know there's going to be a lot of blood spilled. And that's the nature of humanity, because the most evil amongst us find a way to get in positions of power, and then they become tyrannical, megalomaniac assholes. And in this case, satanic assholes. Ooh, man, what else we got out there? Looks like we're doing great. We'll end up with Redneck Roughneck. He says, now, take a look at what judges are letting criminals get away with now. Yes, I covered that. You bet. You bet. After the foreign markets open, silver is at 86.56 and climbing. Gold is at 51.80 and climbing. Folks, the market closed at $84.57. And over the weekend, the COMEX, the criminal precious metals exchange, and the market makers, after the markets closed, they said, well, silver is now worth $2 less. And gold closed last week at $5,115, 51150. No, I'm sorry, $5,115. They took it down to $5,080. They took it down like $45. Well, it's already way back up past 5,115. Now it's 5,180. China is not open yet. These are just Asian markets. China does not come back till Monday night, Uman, which will be Tuesday for them. That's when China comes back. They've been out of the market, and the market's gone up anyways. They want to blame China? Say China's at fault? No, we've got some serious problems. If gold is going up, it's because of fear of war, and the people fear that their money is being destroyed through government corruption, government theft. Remember that whole Doge thing? Department of Government Efficiency. They pointed out all the theft that's coming from our government and the money being sent over to foreign corporations and foreign nations, period. Nations like Israel that line up and suck billions of dollars out of America every fucking year. Oh, yeah. And the currency, the US dollar, is no longer the world reserve currency. They fucking squandered that. They've ruined that. Our government and its handlers and owners. Thank you, man. Yeah. So fear. And then silver. Silver's money also. It's not just poor man's gold. Now it's rich man's missiles. Now it's evil countries' missiles. Now it's military industrial complex electronic necessity. How about all of the AI data centers that are causing our power bills to fucking skyrocket? They need silver too. What about solar panels? The entire third world countries are completely skipping a lot of this bullshit infrastructure, and they're just putting up solar panels to power their homes and power their small cities out in the middle of nowhere. And big marketplaces, what do they got? They're putting up nuclear power everywhere. What does that require? A shit ton of silver. Because of its high heat. Silver is part of the green energy scam. You bet it is. You bet it is. There's not a lot of silver in wind turbines, but there's a shit pile of silver in solar panels. Is solar panel a green energy scam? It can be. I think there's applications where it makes sense, but a lot of countries are building massive solar farms. That only works when the sun is up. It only works when it's not snowing, when it's not raining, but it does work. It does work, but yeah, they're taxing the shit out of us, but they're also consuming all of the silver that's mined. They're consuming all of the silver that's been stockpiled, and the price of silver is going nuts because it's also money, as well as technical, military, energy, medical, battery technology, all these things, folks. There is a war that's going on, not just a war over morality, but a war over resources and commodities. And that's the war that's being fought with China and Russia. And even, yes, this is about, it's about commodities as much as nuclear power and nuclear weapons with Iran. This is a war to see who controls the planet. Me and you, we're in a war to see if we can survive this bullshit. So please get prepared. And thank you, one and all, for supporting the Prepared Mind channel. I'll be back tomorrow. And on the preparedmind.club, the Prepared Mind on subscribestar.com. I'll be back all week long as well as on YouTube. I'll see you guys. Thank you, one and all. Chance favors the Prepared Mind. Aren't you glad you're prepared? God bless America, and Semper Fi means always faithful. Faithful that you know is right, moral, good, and decent.